Hi guys, so this week we're going to be moving on with solving equations, and you guys are going to be solving equations that have variables on both sides. So it's the same general idea. We're trying to isolate variables and get them by themselves. So just as a refresher, we're going to go over some of the stuff from last week. So remember to always draw a line down the equal sign because you want to make sure you keep your equations balanced. And if possible, you want to simplify each side before you solve. So like for this one, I want to combine like terms before I start solving. So -1 and -6 are going to give me -7. So now that everything is simplified, I want to start moving things over. So I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. I'll get -7x equals 14. And then my last step is going to be to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by -7 to cancel those out. I get x equals -2. With this one, it's the same thing where I want to simplify before I solve. So first thing I'm going to do is distribute. So I'm going to take the -6 and multiply it by everything in the parentheses right after it. So I'll get -24n minus 30, and then I'll just bring down the +5 and the -121. So I still want to combine like terms with everything that's on the same side, so everything on the left side of the line. So it'll be that'll be -24n will just come down, and that'll become -25. And I'll bring down my -121. Sorry. So then the next thing I want to do is I want to actually start solving. So I'm going to add 25 to both sides. So these will cancel, and I'll bring down my -24n. And then we'll get -96. So once again, last step, I have a number touching a variable. So I'm going to divide and both sides by -24. And I will get n equals +4. Okay. So now moving on to ones where we have variables on both sides. The thing about when you have variables on both sides, it really doesn't matter which side you put the variables on. You just have to pick a side. So I want to start by getting the variables on the same side together. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 6p on both sides. You could subtract 5p on both sides. Either way is fine. So these will cancel, and I'll bring -1 and then -1p plus 3. So now it's like a regular old two-step equation. So I'm going to solve by subtracting 3 on both sides because I'm doing inverse operations. So -1p equals -4, and then divide both sides by -1. So I will just get that p equals 4. On this one, if you'll notice, when I draw my line down, there's a lot of stuff going on the right side. So when that happens, you want to, once again, simplify before you solve. So the 2a plus 3 I can just bring down. That side is already, there's nothing to combine. There's no parentheses or anything to get rid of. But on the other side, I want to combine like terms. So the a's will go together to give me 8a. And then the numbers will go together to give me 15. So now everything is fully simplified. So I'm going to start solving. We moved to the right last time, so this time I'll move the variables to the left. So I'll subtract 8a on both sides. Make sure when you're doing this that you do the like terms together, like the a goes with the a, don't subtract it like from the 3 or something. But those will cancel. And then I'll get negative 6a, and I'll bring down my plus 3 equals 15. So the next thing I want to do is start getting the a by itself. Now that there's only 1, I want to get it by itself. So I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides to do the opposite. So I'll get negative 6a equals 12. And then negative 6a means negative 6 times a, so the opposite is dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6. Always remember you have to do the same thing on each side of the equation. And you should only ever do it once per side, if that makes sense. That's just a mistake I see sometimes. So in this case, a equals negative 2. A is by itself, so we are done. I've got 2 more examples. So whenever possible, always simplify before you solve. And be careful with minuses, because it's just like a minus and a negative are just, they're essentially the same thing. So I'm going to bring down my 1 minus n, because that side's already as simple as it's going to get. On the other side, I'm going to combine like terms. So first, my n's go together to give me negative 5n. And then the constants go together to give me negative 3. So I got positive 3 minus 6. So now I want to move my variables to the same side. So I need to do the opposite. So I'm going to add 5n. If you wanted to add, right, just n, like that's fine too. Remember that if a variable does not have a number in front of it, that it's essentially 1. So when I combine my n's on this side, I will get 4n. And my negative 3 will come down. These canceled out. So now that I only have 1 n, I want to isolate it, get it by itself. So I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. So that goes away, and I'll bring down my 4n. And on this side, I'll get negative 4. And then last thing I'm going to do is divide to get rid of that 4 that's in front of the n. And I get n equals negative 1. Cool. Last one, again, always simplify before you start solving. So on this side, or I'll just go ahead and bring down the 2x minus 6 on the right. On this side, there's only 1 x, so it's just going to come down. And then I'm going to combine all these numbers together. So if I add 1 plus 8, I get 9. And 9 minus 16 is going to be negative 7. So x minus 7. So now both sides are as simple as they can be. So I'm going to start solving. So let's go ahead and subtract x on both sides, because again, it does not matter which side you move it to. You get the same answer either way. So on this side, I'm going to bring down my negative 7. On this side, 2x minus x is 1x, or just x. And then I'll bring down my minus 6. So to get x by itself now, I have to add 6 to both sides. And negative 7 plus 6 gives me negative 1. On this side, oops, the x is already by itself, so I don't have to divide anything. I'm done. So anyway, those are just some examples. Hopefully, make sure you show up to the live practice where we'll go over some together, and then you'll have a homework assignment where you do some on your own. So that's everything. Hope you guys have a great week.